Are you tired of having low stats in GTA Online? Well, you came to the right place. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can get max stats. So let's get started. So the first stat we're going to talk about is the stamina stat. Alright, so what does this stat even do? Well, the higher your stamina is, the longer you will be able to run without getting tired. So how do you increase this? Well, literally all you need to do is just run around the map. It's that simple. So yeah, run around the map for a while and you should eventually max out your stamina bar. Now another way you can increase your stamina is by riding a BMX bike around the map. Now where can you find a BMX bike? Well, it's pretty simple. Open up your phone and select the browser icon to access the internet. Now you're going to want to select the travel and transport tab since that's where the bikes are going to be. Then afterwards you can click on the Pedal to Metal website and you're going to want to purchase either the Junk Energy Inductor or the regular inductor on your screen. And that will be very affordable since it's only 50k. After that, all you need to do is hop onto your bike and drive it around the map. And that's going to allow you to increase your stamina stat without the need of running. The next spot on the list is going to be strength. Now the higher your strength bar is, the faster you can climb up and down ladders, hop over walls quicker, and have the increased melee damage. Now you can increase this by punching NPCs in populated areas such as North Vinewood and the beach. But the best way to increase your strength is by either starting up the mission Death Metal or starting up the mission called Peer Pressure, since these missions are going to prevent us from gaining a wanted level. Now just ignore whatever the game tells you to do since we're only trying to max out our strength. So all you need to do is head over to the beach area and just beat up NPCs. Now it might take a while, but I seriously think this is the easiest and best way to do it. Now the very next stat we're going to talk about is the shooting stat. But before we can start, what does increasing our shooting stat even do? Well, it allows us to have better aim and it will allow you to hold an insane amount of ammo. So up to 9,999 ammo, which is a ton of ammo. Alright, so there are countless ways to improve our shooting. The first way to improve our shooting stat is by heading over to the ammunition store's gun range. But it has to be this icon, so you should see a target icon on it. But yeah, enter the store and then you will need to make a left. Then you should see a door, so you're going to want to enter that. After that, you can walk to the gun range and start up the missions. So I recommend selecting the minigun mission since you should be able to rapid fire and you won't have to constantly reload your weapon. So just keep on completing the challenges until you eventually notice your stats increase. Another way you can do this is by shooting enemies. So you could go to a heavily populated area and shoot all the people there. Or even better idea, get a wanted level and start shooting the police and anyone else who gets near you until you have a 5-star wanted level. Anyways, let's move on to the next stat. Our next stat is going to be the stealth stat. Now this stat doesn't really do much, but this stat will allow us to be less noisy when there are guards nearby, which can be helpful at times when you're doing a mission when you need to remain quiet. Alright, so if you want to increase your stealth stat, click the left stick and you will notice that your character is slightly crouched. Now that means that you entered stealth mode, so just walk around the map in circles and you will be able to max out your stat pretty quickly. Now if you have a spare controller, preferably a controller with some wear and tear, place the controller down on its left stick and that will allow you to walk in circles while you're increasing your stats while you're away from the game, which is why I say use a weared out controller so that you don't end up damaging your controller. The next stat we're going to talk about is the flying stat. Now this stat increases the ability to keep an aircraft steady. Alright, so how do you even increase it? Well, by flying planes. Okay, so if you open up your map, you should see this icon. Now this is called the flight school. So head over to the location. After you do that, all you need to do is complete the missions. Now the missions are going to be pretty fun since you can practice how to become a better pilot. Also, the missions are going to be pretty easy too, so just follow the instructions and you should be good to go. Another way to increase your flying stat is by calling in your aircraft and flying a plane around the map until your stat maxes out. If you don't have a plane, you can steal one from the LSIA airport and you should be good to go. Alright guys, so let's move on to the next final stat on the list, and that's going to be our driving stat. And the easiest way to do this is by completing races. But make sure you disable the traffic so that we don't constantly crash into NPCs. Another way you can increase your shooting is by driving around the map in a fast car. So just start at the airport and drive your way up to Paleto Bay and back multiple times, and you should be able to increase your stat that way. Also, I forgot to mention what this stat even does. So increasing this stat will allow you to drive much better, which will also give you more control over your vehicle. It also helps you control your wheelie while you're using a motorcycle, which can come in handy at times. Okay, so some more ways of increasing your driving stat is by doing the stunt jumps. Apparently, by doing stunt jumps successfully, you can increase your driving stat by around 2 to 3% each time, but you have to complete it successfully. You cannot fail it. Now, if you still don't have your flying stat maxed out, you may want to check out this hanger guide.